Litigation Senators, please rise. That goes to T. Rodriguez, unopposed.
I thank the chair. That's Senator. Just give me a second to get this set up. That's Senator T. Rodriguez, spelled Rodriguez, and there's two in the chamber, so don't get it confused. I'll start whenever my PO is ready and everyone in the back's ready. My crowd's ready.
PO's usually ready.
Okay. In The Prisoner and the Bread, a prisoner sits in a locked cell with only two things within his reach: a loaf of bread and a key, and he chooses the bread. Contrary to popular belief, it's not because the bread tastes better than the key, but because it satisfies his immediate hunger. He chooses to be satisfied in the short term rather than free in the long term. Today's bill asks the incarcerated and this chamber to do the same. It offers you bread. I offer you the key. Fail. Understand that today's debate has boiled down to two main questions. If we pass today, what will happen to prisons and what will happen to prisoners? So first, let's talk about what happens to prisoners inside and outside of prison. The affirmative has framed the success of the justice system almost entirely around one metric: recidivism. Senators Sirica and Ramos tell us that this minimum wage is going to put money into the pockets of former prisoners once they're released and lower recidivism rates. Well, allow me to tell you that even if those prisoners are released and they have that money in their pockets, it's not going to matter. Because just because someone does not come back to prison, it doesn't mean that our system has worked. It means we get to talk about statistics of low recidivism rates and sing the praises of our punitive system, but I happen to have some more telling statistics. The Bureau of Justice tells us that formerly incarcerated individuals face unemployment rates exceeding 27% and higher than any other demographic group in America. The Prison Policy Initiative further tells us in 2024 that formerly incarcerated people face mortality rates nearly twice that of the general population, largely due to homelessness, untreated illness, and lack of post-prison support. So ask yourself, if someone avoids prison but cannot find a job, cannot access healthcare, becomes homeless, or dies from a lack of resources, can we actually say we rehabilitated them? No, because the goal of incarceration is not making sure people disappear from a prison database. The goal should be ensuring people can successfully re-enter society. Senators McCarthy and Rodriguez on my side have already proven to you that all this bill will do is cut the only safeguards to rehabilitation that these prisons have. So you vote with the neg because you hurt prisoners inside of prison through the gutting of rehabilitation programs, and you hurt them outside when we fail to implement measures that ensure prisoners are actually supported in the long run. Second, let's talk about what happens to these prisons. Senator Ramos proves the next point for us in his speech by telling us that private prisons themselves exploit their prisoners. Well, that doesn't change with this bill. Private prisons are going to continue to exploit, continue to chase profit, which actually means that they're going to imprison more of our constituents. The status quo is that private prison companies have a financial incentive to expand incarceration. When we pass, we worsen this exponentially. The Brennan Center for Justice explains that private prison companies have become major partners for ICE, with companies like Core Civic and Geo Group positioned to expand their detention operations because of increased government funding. These companies acquire more and more profit. So I have to tell you, senators, ignore the bread, choose the key, fail.
Thank you, Senator, for that speech of 3 minutes and 8 seconds. We are now in line for 2 blocks of direct questioning. Any and all questioners, please rise. I'll bring the mic over to you once I look at who, between Senator Moore and Senator Ramos, that goes to Senator Moore. Wait for me to get back. All right, you're good. Oh, yeah, sure. Senator Moore, whenever you're ready.
Oh, correct me if I'm wrong, but you mentioned that incarcerated individuals will find it hard to get a job, and doesn't matter that this bill gives them money in their pocket. Why is that?
What do you mean? Like, I'm just saying that they're not actually, like, this bill, when we raise the minimum wage, we're not actually making any steps to prevent long-term unemployment, homelessness, or even mortality rates.
So this bill will be the reason that they're unemployed?
No, but I'm just saying it's not doing anything. Like, if this bill is not doing anything to help those statistics, why do we pass legislation that does nothing?
Because this bill's actually give them money.
Hey, look at this running. I deserve the one.
All right. Hey, Senator, great speech. You mentioned how I'm proving the negations point because
there's no oversight.
Saying that the prisoners are still going to be exploited. But the reason why they feel exploited is because they're being paid less. So we're not paying it
Wait,
more
how
means
is that the reason that they're feeling exploited? Is that like a statistic? Like they took a survey that they said they're feeling exploited because they're being paid less, or it's
Yes.
just because there's no oversight in the prisons themselves?
no, that they feel exploited because they're being paid less.
Okay, what's the source on that?
The source was let me find it real quick.
And that is it for our time.
I thank the
So
chair.
question number is,
Fries.
Seeing as that speech in the negation,
Mike?
well.